just touched upon this story and we had to get a guest on because this is absolutely extraordinary. A very good evening to Jamie Jenkins, political and economic commentator, a Welsh political commentator and... Hello, Jamie, how are you?
I'm all good, Jeremy. How are you doing, mate?
Well, I was all right until I read this story, and I'd love a proper Welsh response, because I used to say, please forgive me, if you're going to vote Labour, look at what Labour have done in Wales. This has put Wales badly on the map today. The media are reporting that the Welsh Labour Government has vowed to change the beliefs and behaviour of the white majority in Wales. The devolved administration made the pledges it intends to be. It basically wants your country to be anti-racist by 2030 and ensure all areas of public life are transformed. Apparently, they've set out an anti-racist Wales action plan. Is Wales racist then?
Well, that's the key question, isn't it, Jeremy? Because obviously, whenever a minister comes up with a new policy, you're going to need to monitor it. And you were just talking to Peter there about how do we know how racist Wales is? And the first part of that is, well, is Wales any more racist than any other country? That's the first part. And if you look at this action plan that they come up with, Jeremy, some bizarre stuff in there. And we had the report of last week where they've been getting kind of focus groups talking about what could be in an anti-Wales, anti-racism policy for Wales, where they were talking about potentially, banning dogs from certain public places. Now, the Welsh Government has said they're not going to do that part of it, but ultimately, they said they're going to come up with this cultural maturity matrix, Jeremy. I've no idea what that's going to come up with. But a key part as well, all the civil servants working in Wales have been told that they need to have an anti-racism objective, and the Welsh Government themselves are going to have positive discrimination and try and kind of hire more ethnic minorities, which ultimately we should be recruiting the best person for the job rather than just...
Here, mate. I'm sick to death of hearing about... And by the way, this is across the political spectrum. I yearn for a conviction politician, even if I damn well would spend my life disagreeing with almost everything they say. If I had somebody stood in front of me who believed fervently through conviction, not a bleeding focus group, and said, come with me or don't come with me, that's what politics should be about. A cultural maturity matrix. In this quest to turn this world, starting in Wales, into what they perceive the bedwetters to be the right society, are we not in danger of, I've got to be really careful, being prejudiced against people who aren't of ethnic origin or aren't of whatever culture? Shouldn't it be, as you said, everybody all together, balance, opportunity to everybody, but best person gets job?
No, totally, Jeremy. And part of what you've highlighted of what this is all to do with an agenda is to improve kind of public life in Wales. Now, we don't have any data on how racist Wales is or not, so we're not going to be able to monitor this in the first place.
Wouldn't you improve public life by making more doctors' appointments better, or the NHS better, or dealing with social care better, or what about providing better lunches for kids in schools? Why are we in the grip of politicians who seem to think that the way to improve our lives, which are pretty... I nearly said the wrong word at the moment for a lot of people, is to run focus groups, come up with ideologies that, frankly, is a waste of bleeding money?
No, and the key priorities you've got to look at, are people calling for this from the Welsh Government? If we want to talk about improving public life, Jeremy, some new stats out this week. Homelessness in Wales is at a record high, and the NHS waiting lists in Wales are at a record high. And ironically, it's been run by the Welsh Labour Party for 25 years. And the Welsh Labour Minister, the First Minister, said she's trying to learn what they've been doing in England, which has been run by the Tory party for the last 14 years. So ultimately, I think what you've introduced at the start here is this is what you get when you vote for the same party to run your country for 25 years, year in, year out. And ultimately, if you don't get some change, you're going to end up with this kind of nonsense coming into England as well.
Well, this is really interesting, actually, and it's a good question to finish on, and it shows that I don't prepare anything because it just come to me, and even I'm thinking, this is a good question, Jez. Many people that watch and listen to this station are horrified by what Starmer has done in a very short space of time in England, and I'm talking about pensioners getting rid of the winter fuel allowance, attacking today farmers. This inheritance tax is causing widespread misery. Students, their costs of being a student have risen, and many people are saying small businesses, business rates. This government is is hateful and wrong and going to attack anybody and everybody unless you work in the public sector. And most people are thinking, if it's this bad in 4.5 years, they're gone. With the greatest respect to Wales, you've had this and you've voted them back in for 25 years. What's wrong with you? Because that now fills me... I could be dead by the time the Labour Party's out of power.
I think the good news is, Jeremy, if we just take a break down the recent general election, I don't think people were voting for a Labour government. They were more or less voting out, the Tory government.
Completely.
So if the Tory government can get itself back in shape, potentially in the next 5 years, this might all come back and we'll get the Labour government out again. So I wouldn't think England is going to be as bad as Wales, and I think they have a bit more common sense over there, especially if you can get the Tory party back on its feet.
Listen, it's great to have you on, mate. You are my Welsh correspondent. You are welcome anytime. The amazing Jamie Jenkins.